Good morning, travelers, wanderers, and adventurers. It's Sally here from Vacation Kids, and I wanted to give everybody an update on the COVID-19 virus and how it's affecting travel plans for everyone. So I thought I'd share a cup of coffee with you this morning and give you some updates. It's March 30th today that I'm broadcasting this, and the reason I say that is because things have been changing by the minute. As a matter of fact, behind the scenes here at Vacation Kids, it's been business as unusual for the past month to 5 weeks. I'm so incredibly proud of my staff. They've been working around the clock while, just like many of you out there, trying to homeschool children and work from home. It's been a little nutty to say the least. But for us here at Vacation Kids, we specialize in family travel. So this virus hit our company right at the height of when we have families going on spring break. And I need to remind people that different countries, different areas of the country all celebrate spring break a little differently, right? So for us in our business, it usually starts around President's Week, Martin Luther King weekend. People start traveling, and that goes usually up until whenever Easter falls each year. That's sort of our heavy spring break season where we have hundreds of families traveling over that course of time. So when you talk about timing, this virus hit us right at our peak of a travel time. So it's been a little interesting here, I have to say. And, our devotion straight up has been working with our clients, trying to keep everybody safe and get everybody home. So it started with the cruise lines. And I like to remind people, one Royal Caribbean Oasis class ship holds about 6,000 passengers. That's just one cruise ship. And we have several of those ships sailing every week. And that's not even to mention all the other cruise lines out there that have 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 passengers that are sailing, every day. So when the cruise lines decided to shut down, we had a lot of people right in the middle of last minute, either coming or going, having to get home or go. So, when that first happened, it was really, to try to get a phone call or a hold, get some advice from the cruise line. We were on phone hold sometimes 4 to 6 hours. And I know many of you out there who haven't worked with a travel agent were experiencing the same thing. So that's why I wanted to give some, a little bit of an update here. But right after that, the European countries, Middle Eastern countries, South American countries, one by one, started shutting down their borders. So that meant we had flights being canceled. We had people stuck in destination that needed to get home, whether, people were afraid they'd be stuck somewhere and have to quarantine. So we just got all of that done, caught our breath, and then they shut the Disney parks down. So then again, we have had all these families who are traveling, immediate travel plans that, we had to either rearrange them or change their dates or cancel their travel plans. And of course, a lot of times when you book a vacation, right, they're packages. So that means, it's not just admission to Disney tickets, it's hotels, it's airlines, it's car rentals. So when I tell you it was the migraine of the century, I would probably be exaggerating. And, right last week, at the end of last week, we were waiting to see maybe things were going to start changing right after Easter. And now today, President Trump has come through and pushed everything now, at least to the end of April. I don't see any travel starting up now until the end of April. I have some notes here on my lap, so I don't want to I don't want to forget what I wanted to say. And speaking of the president and politics, personally, I have to say that over the course of the last week or so, I've spent a great deal of time on social media, mainly because we were, as travel agents, watching for news because, cancellation policies, refund policies were changing by the minute. So we needed to be informed, and usually the first line of defense that we were getting was social media. So I spent a lot of time on social media. And I'm not going to make this into a political discussion, but there's one thing from my heart, viewers, if there's something I could share with you, and I want you to keep in perspective. And, we all can agree to disagree on politics, and that's not what the point is here. But I did see a lot of discussions online, and I participated, but a lot of people we're very polarized about whether the government should bail out airlines, should bail out cruise ships. And, there's a ton of political debates that go with environmental responsibility, and I'm not getting into all that. The one thing I do want you to bear in mind about the travel industry is that the travel industry as a whole, it's worth billions of dollars every year. And sometimes we tend to look at that like, oh, it's just our vacation. No, it's billions of dollars, whether it's transporting people or goods, billions of dollars every year. And yes, there are these big cruise lines and airlines and theme parks that make millions and millions of dollars. But when you look at those companies, they're big companies, but think about the single mom who's a friend of mine who's a res agent for one of the cruise lines that lives in Wichita, or the res agent that works with one of the airline companies that we work with that's up in, North Dakota, Fargo, North Dakota. So, or Minot, North Dakota, I'm sorry. When you look at behind the scenes, the res agents who work, in Florida, these are all, people that are supporting their families. So even though it's a big corporation and people get very polarized about big corporations, look at all the people behind the scenes, that need to make things run. And not just for our country. Think about people that are supporting their families who work on cruise ships from all over the world, or same with hotels. It doesn't matter. And although the travel industry looks like big corporations on the front end, behind the scenes, there's actually an entire network of small businesses. I mean, look at us. Vacation Kids is a small business. There's 140,000 travel agents around the United States. Most of them are women-owned small businesses that rely on the big guys for us to be able to do our job. And not only that, when you look at somebody like me who's a travel agent, I also have a network of small businesses all around the world that I work with and support because they do such a great job. My mom and pop tour company in Costa Rica, the driver in Milan that takes our clients back and forth through Italy, the ship owner in Croatia, the restaurant owner in Vietnam. These are all people that I recommend my clients to, one small business to another. But guess what? If we don't have airlines and cruise ships and hotels for our travelers to go to these destinations, they can't support those local businesses. And all those people are just trying to feed their families too. So again, everybody is entitled to their own political opinions, but just know the travel industry is not all about big business. It's also about little business. So moving ahead, the big tip that I wanted to talk to people about today is, how is this COVID-19 virus going to affect people who are traveling, this summer? We're dealing with people who may not be able to take their spring break trips. Come June, we have a lot of people traveling for weddings, graduations, family reunion events. And then, of course, June kicks off summer vacation season. So how is that going to be affected with this virus? So here's some tips, because we've been getting lots of calls from people, that DIY'd their vacation and now we're confused and stressed and needed help. And as much as we would have liked to have helped them, we were really busy supporting their own clients. So I figured one thing I can do is to do a public service announcement and share some of my expertise, and hopefully it'll help others who are planning their travel moving out for the summer vacation. So number one, first thing to recognize out there, and we've heard a lot of the public officials saying this, decisions are made not by us these days, but by this virus. So we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know when travel is going to resume. I know the president today pushed it off. They're not making any decisions now until the end of April. Right now, he's asking everyone to hunker down. How is that going to affect May or June? We simply don't know. So what can you do right now? And I know it's stressful. People have vacation anticipation for months and months before they go. We really look forward to being with families and friends and discovering and exploring places. But right now, all of that is on hold. So while it's on hold, a few things that if you DIY'd your trip, I can suggest that you do. First of all, every component of every trip is going to have a contract, terms and conditions. And it's all that boring fine print that nobody ever wants to look at, when you've booked your hotel reservations or your airline ticket. You know how you get printed pages of all this fine print that, you can't refund your ticket unless it's on a Tuesday of a full moon following a solar eclipse. All that fine print that is really confusing. Nobody likes to read it. I get it. But now's the time you really got to go with a magnifying glass and read through and understand what those terms and conditions are. That's number one. And those terms and conditions are going to be what you're allowed to get as a refund or what you're allowed to do as far as rebooking your trip on a good day. Now, here's the tricky bit. As I said, this is business as unusual. So now all that terms and conditions, you got to know what it is on a good day and then know what it's going to be now with the changes that are being made because of this virus. So know what the terms and conditions are, but now while you're home, while you're quarantined, while your kids are doing their math homework, go on to the specific site. If you've booked a specific hotel, a specific cruise line, a specific airline, go to that website. Delta Airlines, United Airlines, American Airlines, JetBlue Airlines, Southwest. Go to their sites and see what their refund cancellation policy is for your specific ticket. Same thing, like I said, hotels, cruise lines, see what it is on a good day, and then see what it is now with waivers, because thankfully many of the travel companies have, made emergency changes to those terms and conditions, right? So, whereby maybe you bought a refundable airline ticket that you're not allowed to make any changes without hundreds of dollars of change fees. Well, now a lot of the airlines have waived those change fees. So, you don't have to pay $150 a ticket to change your flights. Same thing with hotels. You might have been under full penalty, but because they close the border in Mexico, or they're cut off the flights in Mexico now they may refund you or maybe even give you a bonus. We've seen a lot of the hotels now, if you rebook, they'll give you a free night stay or you'll get extra onboard ship credit. So it's a bonus time. So you have to know what the normal rules are and what the new rules are. Now, important thing to bear in mind, and I'm going to be honest with you, and you may not want to hear this, but you need to sit tight. Everybody, just like they're doing in the hospitals right now, is triaging. I used to be a nurse, right? When you work in a hospital, you take care of the emergency, really sick people, the very immediately. If someone's having a heart attack, they're going to go right in and get care. If somebody's there and, has a sore throat or something, well, not in the virus thing, but let's just say somebody comes in with a heart attack or a stroke, they're going to be seen before somebody that comes in who sprained their wrist or something. So it's an emergency situation. So right now, travel companies are triaging too, not just agents like me, but cruise lines, hotels, we're all triaging. So we're taking care of people with immediate departures, immediate needs. If you're going out in June, honestly, nobody cares about you. If you're not traveling until August, sorry, Charlie, we don't want to hear from you next now. And God forbid, if you're traveling next year, I don't want to talk to you right now. Nothing personal. It's not that I don't love you. It's just that we need to give our attention to immediate departures. Let's say you're traveling the end of June and you don't know how this is going to affect your summer vacation to Jamaica, right? Whether you cancel today or whether you cancel at the end of June, really doesn't matter. You're probably under the same fine print, penalties or cancellation penalties, whether you book it now or whether you wait. And here's the reason why I'm telling people to wait. The travel companies have been changing their rules according to what's been going on with this virus. For example, we had this one family, they were traveling to Italy. This was back in early March. And this is before they shut the borders in Italy, before things got really bad in Italy. And he was ready to leave within 5 days. And he calls us up and he said, listen, we see that they're starting to quarantine people over there. We're a young, healthy family. We're not worried about getting the virus. We're worried about getting quarantined on the way back because the dad was starting a new job. And we told him, wait to cancel. Wait until 24 hours before you go because we don't know what's going to happen. And he insisted that we cancel. Probably in retrospect, I should have lied to him and said, okay, and just stalled him and not, if I wanted to do him a service, but I don't like lying to my customers or deceiving customers. So when he said in his email he needed us to cancel, he had to cancel. So he had spent about $6,000 on this trip. We were able to negotiate with a couple of our small hotelier friends in Italy where he was going to be staying, and they were kind enough to extend us a favor and let us, refunded us some of the money. But he was out of pocket about $4,000. Nothing we could do. That was like on a Thursday that we canceled him. Tuesday, the next week, which was the day before he was ready to cancel, we could have gotten him full refund on his airline tickets and pretty much the rest of his trip. And he called us back and he said, look, they canceled. Can I get my money back? No, because timing is everything. So this is why I'm telling you to wait. Similar situation with a family that was traveling to Israel. It was an 80-year-old grandfather and his 62-year-old daughter was taking him to Israel. They were in the same situation and I begged them. I was like, sit tight, let's wait. Sure enough, same thing happened. And we were able to just move their trip until next fall. They didn't lose a penny. They extended their travel insurance. Everything worked out perfectly. They didn't lose a dime. So if you're traveling in the summer, stay tuned. Do your homework. Don't cancel or reschedule until the very last minute. So those are about the biggest tips. Know what the rules are on a good day. Watch for changes and waivers from your particular travel companies. And, do not cancel or change your reservations until the very last minute. Have that mindset because what we've been seeing throughout this whole thing is good things come to those who wait. And, on another note, I'll say, I know this has been a very challenging time for everybody. I normally work from home and even I'm getting cabin fever, but I salute all those parents that are out there that are, suddenly you become teacher, chef, cook, well, at least I guess the chauffeuring hours have, in the minivan have subsided just a little bit, but, comes with a whole new set of stresses and stuff. And so a lot of people, have been telling us in the travel industry, like, hang in there, right? Because people are going to be quarantined. They're going to be wanting to get out there and have new adventures and explore again. But I also know from the bottom of my heart that this has financially affected a lot of people. I have 3 grown children and their partners, and every single one of them has been affected, either lost their job, are on unemployment now, or, their hours have been severely cut. So I know this is going to hit people's pocketbooks very dearly. But I will say this. If, you want to support small businesses throughout all of this, if there is a way, if you can afford it, I would recommend to people, don't cancel, reschedule your trip. And many companies have been allowing people to reschedule up until next year even. If you can postpone your travel plans as, instead of canceling your travel plans, it will help a lot of small businesses, not just myself, but, all of my people around the world that I'm friends with. And, when you have to hear one of your friends that, you love dearly call up and say, I've lost my job in the travel industry and then by June we're going to be homeless, it's heartbreaking. So I know this has been a very stressful time. I know this has been a pretty long video, but I wanted to offer my help in any way that I could. So, again, little sales pitch. I'll say always work with a travel agent, not just me. But sometimes people don't understand the value of a travel agent. And I kind of say to people, anybody can book an airline ticket these days. That's not the point. But knowing the small pit, having the expertise, knowing who to connect with all around the world, at a time like this, you're not spending 6 hours on hold. We're doing that as a service for our people. So next time when you book, think about using a travel agent, whether me or somebody else you know and trust. But we're here to help and serve you. All we want to do is help you get your money back, help you, if you need to reschedule. And, we're used to crisis management, whether it's a hurricane or a snowstorm, God forbid terrorists, now viruses, kind of looking back, this is kind of put things in perspective. So we're awful good at dealing and problem solving when things go south. So again, if you can, please reschedule, don't cancel your travel plans. And know we're here to serve and help in any way that we can. Feel free, if you like this message, subscribe, tell your friends about us. If we can help somebody, share our posts with us. If you have any questions, put the comments and questions below. I'll do my best to help you and answer questions as they come along. But we're all in this together, people, and I hope it's all over for us soon. Please stay happy, healthy, and safe. And I hope we're out exploring the world and enjoying new adventures soon. So until that time, I'll say goodbye for now.